Kelly's having a rough one because on the one hand, she seems, she seems to be one of the people who's kind of holding fast to they need to release this stuff. She was saying something, I want to say, and I don't remember if we did the clip or not. They all kind of blur together at this fucking point. But I don't know, I'll look it up. Open that in a new tab, and we'll look at all of her shit and stupid. And go away, lady. And she's been doing this kind of like right now she's doing the Hillary Clinton stuff, and those kind of things. But oh yeah, and apparently Kash Patel's girlfriend has to, people think she's a Mossad agent now, and that's why that stuff is not being released. That part's fucking glorious. But I want to say there's one clip of her somewhere around here that is her basically going like basically yelling at Trump, like, don't you dare push, like, I don't know, give Ghislaine a pardon or commuter sentence or whatever. And she's trying to address it directly. But the reality is she's still, I think, on the beat. She's on the Epstein beat for the most part. Okay, let me show you real quick. So, but then Trump does this thing where he says they stole her, right? This is her reaction to the Trump being asked on the plane about it, and he says he stole her or whatever, and how horrified she is, and just just pearl clutching left and right, because how dare they assert that he meant like he owns her, like stole her, because people that's just how you talk about your employees, all right. And by the way, that may be true of normal people, but if you're friends with a fucking pedophile for a quarter century, we get to dig a little deeper, read a little between the lines.
I want to tell the audience right now, it was not known that this particular thing you're going to hear was the reason the friendship ended.
Oh, right. Okay. So I think she's talking about here the that up to this point it was the creep story, and now he's saying nope. He just poked employees from me.
Been lots of speculation. We had on Vicky Ward 2 weeks ago who was saying it might have been the fact that Epstein asked Trump to go with him to look at a property he wanted to buy out of bankruptcy and ask him how he could move the pool around. And Trump, when he saw the property, decided he was going to bid on it as well out of bankruptcy, and Trump got it. So there was one report that's why it ended. There was another report that Epstein had hit on or behaved in a, inappropriate way with the daughter of a Mar-a-Lago member.
Right, which again, I would like to argue is morally reprehensible, because all it says is that Trump's standard is you can fuck with the high school girls all you want, or the girls that I fly in from Eastern Europe for these look of the year things. Yeah, diddle them all you want, but don't mess with the members' kids, because they're my bread and butter. These guys pay me to come here, so I don't fuck with the members. Maybe the staff.
And Trump said, "You're out of here." Now, to his credit,
that's, by the way, that is Glenn Beck's favorite lie, and it's why he hasn't talked about Epstein since Trump blew a hole in it.
Trump could have just gone with number two.
He always goes with number two, lady. Secondly, your suggestion is that he lie. That's the suggestion here from Megyn Kelly. Look, that's the one that makes it. She's speaking now not as a journalist or a former journalist or a woman who was sexually harassed out of her job at Fox News and who should be more sympathetic to victims than even other people who are aware of the plight of people in that situation. No, she's speaking to him as a crisis team member at a PR firm. Here's what we'll do. This is the story that this covers all our bases. And again, it doesn't have to be true.
And made himself sound, better.
She means lie. What she's saying is he would have to lie to not sound bad in this situation. Because whether it's the real estate deal or the fact that he was mad that he was taking employees during this time. By the way, and he wrote the letter, the birthday letter, a year after Virginia Giuffre was taken from the thing. So she wasn't the last straw. She wasn't even the first fucker. She barely worked there for very long. She only made $1,800. She worked there a few weeks before she was fucking poached. And he still didn't care for years. Still friends with him for another 4, 5, 7 years, depending on who which timeline you're allowed to believe.
He didn't. This is back to the Sean Hannity thing. Trump doesn't get in trouble because he lies. Trump gets in trouble because he tells the truth.
Well, and he's a scumbag. See, if you tell the truth about yourself, but the truth is you're actually a good person, you don't run it. I'll give you an example. Jimmy Carter isn't known for being a wonderful human being because he lied. It's because he told the truth, even about his lesser, his lower character traits. He's told about he's lusted in his heart. Even though he's married and he loves his wife, he is lusted in his heart. Because that's just a man thing. Men are like that. That was the idea, and he admitted to it. He didn't act on it. He admitted to lusting in his heart. And to him, it was an equal sin. That's how you know he's a good guy. He felt just as guilty thinking the thoughts as he did following through with it. Because he was a good man. Donald Trump is a piece of shit. And the reason he gets in trouble when he tells the truth is because he's an unrepentant piece of shit. And anybody who would defend that behavior or tap dance around that behavior is a co-piece of shit. That Venmo is very large. I apologize. I have to move it in like this because it's a bit much. So. This is fucking aggravating. Okay.
And so they asked Trump about.
Wait, I also don't want that to just pass. Can I say something? I don't want that to just go by. Listen to Megyn Kelly.
And made himself sound, better. He didn't. This is back to the Sean Hannity thing. Trump doesn't get in trouble because he lies. Trump gets in trouble because he tells the truth.
No. Yes. Thank you, Andrea. I will rotate that through. I don't think it's on this computer, but I will. The Cash App thing. Thank you.
And so they asked Trump about how he and Jeffrey Epstein fell out. He told the story. And now the left-wing press is going with, and I'm going to play you the soundbite, but they're going with Trump knew everything. He knew that girls are being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, and he basically allowed it by having Jeffrey Epstein come and poach girls from Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, so far, no lies detected. Yes, that's exactly how it worked. Yes. And also, real quick, let me put a pin in this for you, Meg. If he didn't know this motherfucker was up to this shit, and he was as close as anybody, according to Michael Wolff, they were thick as thieves for at least 10 years, where they were literally hanging around each other almost daily. The closest thing he had to a friend. Other people flew on the plane, went to events, those kind of things. Maybe went to dinner parties, but they were up in each other's grill all the fucking time. And if he did not know, after spending 25 years in this motherfucker's presence, why would you put him in charge of anything? He can't drive a car, he can't ride a bicycle, and he can't tell that Jeffrey Epstein's a fucking pedophile. And he's also stupid enough to, in an interview, go, he likes his chicks on the younger side. I'll tell you that right now. Hey, how'd you like to make $14 the hard way?
All right, so here's the question when he talks about how Epstein stole, that's a reporter's word too, stole.
No, it isn't. It's Trump's word.
Virginia Giuffre, who was the best known Jeffrey Epstein victim, she was the one who was with Prince Andrew. She recently died. And we all knew that she worked at Mar-a-Lago, and that's how Jeffrey Epstein first saw her. That we have known that. Okay, but anyway, watch.
Yeah, okay. So stop like dunking on the fact that she worked at Mar-a-Lago. Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her from there. Ghislaine Maxwell was the first to molest her before Jeffrey Epstein did. And it took Trump another 3 to 5 years to stop hanging out with Epstein after that happened. Her dad worked at her stepdad, I think it was, worked at Mar-a-Lago too. She got another job with Jeff. You know Jeff. You know he likes girls on the younger side. You didn't check up on her. What's she doing for Jeff now? What's her job? You didn't check up? You didn't think that, you got so upset he was taking your fucking employees. You didn't make a fucking phone call? Mm-hmm.
Saw 10.
Were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows.
I don't want to say. This asshole tells on himself all the time. Stack that line with what Megyn Kelly said. He doesn't hurt himself by telling lies. He hurts himself by telling the truth. I don't want to say. He doesn't want to talk about it. And he certainly doesn't want to say that he hired young women to be around as locker room attendants at his spa and shit like that because he liked girls walking around that looked like Ivanka. I don't want to say.
The people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women.
Like he just got to fucking weasel around to it. And then like halfway through, he remembers, oh yeah, everybody thinks I'm a straight shooter. So I got to just say yes or no.
In the spa.
In the spa.
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone.
No. Also, in other words, gone. Sorry, are you talking about the girls that he allegedly possibly had sex with, took to the island, and they're now dead? The girl who tried to swim for it off of Little St. Jeff's Island? Gone? In other words, gone. The fuck is wrong with you?
And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa.
Spa or not spa? That is the question. Whether it is nobler to have a loofah in one's keister.
I don't want him taking people. And
no, DB Golding, I call it Little St. Jeff's because that's what they called it. Little St. Jeff's and Big St. Jeff's.
he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr.
Yeah, it took him a while. 5 years of allegedly poaching. Also, here's the thing. Obviously, he didn't do it when he poached Virginia Giuffre. Obviously not, because you hung out with him for years after she left. So who was the next girl? Who was the next person that was your another Ivanka fucking lookalike that you hired to work in the fucking spa and apparently give you massages? Did you ever get a massage in your own fucking spa? It's gross. It's getting gross. It's very gross. It's getting very gross.
Did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah, he stole her.
Oh, by the way, I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I mean, she said she never had a problem working with us. She liked working in the spa, but I think she worked in the spa. The fuck out of here. Let me tell you something. I'm sure, chat room, I'm sure that some of you, maybe even the vast majority of you, have something in your life, whether it was a really like a big traffic accident that involved a bunch of cars and had a bunch of details and whatever, or a custody battle or divorce or a criminal case that you were in the jury or perhaps a defendant, that you remember all the details. And especially if they were like, yeah, this has come up again. And it all comes flooding back. There is no way he doesn't know exactly who Virginia Giuffre was. There is no way. And this hedging, I think, did she work at the spa? No. Fuck you. Of course she worked in the spa. Of course you know this. And you know, and the reason he's tap dancing around it, the reason he's tap dancing is because he knows that he was still friends with Jeffrey Epstein for years after Ghislaine came in there and hired her to service Epstein. Of course he knows. Shut the fuck up. Stop it. Just stop. Ugh. Galatian. How have you learned what a social democrat is? Yes, they're a work of fiction like libertarians.
And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Huh. She had no complaints about you. I presume working in the spa. But maybe she did, maybe she didn't.
Okay. Anybody that's been an employer has probably had an employee stolen. You might use that word by another employer. Somebody comes along, they like your employee, they offer.
Yeah, no. No. He didn't hire her to be a fucking assistant. He didn't take a bookkeeper. He took an underage girl out of the locker rooms at fucking Mar-a-Lago Spa and abused her for years. You dumb son of a bitch. No, you don't say that about somebody she was basically abducted. She was tricked into a van, you dumb motherfucker. Oh my God. You're right. Only in one possibility. Megyn Kelly, there is only one way that you could be right in your read on this. And that's if she was doing, that Virginia Giuffre, rest her soul, was doing the exact same thing for Trump that she did for Epstein. Then she was stolen away, like an assistant or a bookkeeper or a fucking pool attendant. You dickhead. Fucking hell. Yes, and they do say, the phrase is poached when you go after somebody in the business world. But let's not forget, Virginia Giuffre did not go work as a locker room attendant at fucking Jeffrey Epstein's house or his island. She wasn't folding towels and checking people in to lockers when they went to the jacuzzi. Yeah, people say stolen all the time. Except when, it's like, can you imagine that? All right, imagine if, I'm trying to remember this guy. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay, so, it's true crime time. Let's see. I think, is it multi or multi? 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 Maury Travis. There it is. I know what this is. I know that. Okay. So, Maury Travis. Maury Travis is a serial killer. And he killed, let's see if this is related, somewhere in the area of, hold on, somewhere in the order of a minimum of 12. He said 17 at one point. They think it's close to 20, 25 people. Okay, this guy, Maury Travis. They have a picture of there. Okay. Where is he? Do the whole thing. Jesus. This is so aggravating. All right. I'm just going to have to do an image. There we go. Is this the dude? He's going to so nope, different guy. There are so many people. Okay, well, I guess it doesn't matter. We'll just do a random one. Any of them will work in this regard. But there you go. How about this? Ted Bundy. Good old Ted Bundy. Okay, there he is. Ted Bundy. Let's say you own a shop and you have a woman working for you who works at the shop on 5 days a week, and then one day she doesn't show up for work, and it turns out, you find out years later, that this dude approached her, guy with a fake broken arm and a camera, and says, I'm a photographer, I like taking pictures of pretty ladies, I'd love to take your picture, you're model, gorgeous, and da, da, da. And he talks her into a van and he kills her. And parts of her end up all over fucking Colorado. If you're that store owner, do you say, Ted Bundy stole that woman away from me? Do you say Ted Bundy poached my employee? Because he didn't hire her. He tricked her. And then he killed her. And in the case of an underage girl, underage girls cannot prostitute themselves. Okay? They cannot. They are victims. If you're underage, you can't consent. You can't, in my estimation, you cannot be guilty of prostitution if you're under 18 years old. You just can't. You just can't. And if anybody poaches you away from your place of business to do that, they are simply abducting a child and sexually assaulting them. End of fucking conversation. They weren't poached away. They weren't stolen. You're not mad because they were hired away. They were molested, you fucking prick. Other than that, I have no opinion. Christ almighty. Can I just, why the fuck? And then this Megyn Kelly thing just went. That video just went dead for some reason. Curious. Isn't that funny? Maybe she took it down. Yes, underage girls can't consent, period. So even talking about them like, yeah, he poached people away from me. He didn't. Children, you motherfucker. He didn't take your goddamn gardeners. And if he did, here's the thing. Here's what's going to come out. If there's any truth to this story, that this was the last straw, like the real estate deal was, I think, the main one. But let's just play along. What we will find out is that when Virginia Giuffre was taken, dude didn't give a shit. Didn't care. Right? When Virginia Giuffre, did I go offline? Am I all right? Hold on. Suddenly my browser is being very wonky. I hope I am still broadcasting okay? All right. Anyways, okay. Okay, it's coming back. Okay, thanks, CSL. I'm waiting for that the Megyn Kelly video to reload on that page because it's not, for some reason, it's being a dick. No, probably going to force reload. There you go. Do it. Again, I will stand by this. The only way this makes sense in any way, Megyn Kelly, is if, that whole browser's just deed. All right. Just being a dick. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to open a different browser and see if I can solve it with that. It might be a Safari thing. Here you go. Put this here and go back to wherever they were. Yeah, okay. So back to this, holding here. Theater mode. Excellent. Bring this down. Okay. Back to where we were. I think audio should be.
And by the way, she had no complaint.
All right, there we go. By the way, she had no complaints about us. Here we go. So back to where we were. This business. Okay. I don't know if, I think she worked in the spa. Of course, he knows she worked in the spa.
I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her.
He stole her. Megyn Kelly said those were the words of the reporter, that the reporter said stole. That was her words.
And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
No complaints about you in what way? Did she work at Mar-a-Lago or something?
Whatsoever.
Okay. That anybody that's been an employer has probably had an employee stolen.
But very few have had one abducted, you dizzy fuck.
You might use that word by another employee, another employer. Somebody comes along, they like your employee, they offer your employee more money or better work, conditions.
Or abduct them and take them to an island in the Virgin Islands and throw their fucking passport out a helicopter window and go, if you try to leave, I'll feed you to the sharks. P.S. My girlfriend has friends in the Mossad and they'll kill your family if you do anything, whether that's true or not. It's still for a young girl. It's a lot.
Etc., a better job. And they leave and they say, oh, they stole that person from me. That's clearly what he's saying. I don't.
About a girl who was systematically abused over the course of years. Passed around by rich and powerful men and Ghislaine Maxwell like a fucking party favor. And he's like, he stole my employee. How about he raped a girl? Repeatedly. Passed her around like it was a fucking biker bar. I don't know. That's just what you say. This is just what we say.
Understand how the media even thinks it can turn this into, he knew Epstein was a trafficker. He knew he stole Virginia Giuffre and...
Hey, dipshit. I can't figure out how you think any of us can understand why you would think that he wouldn't know. Like that, shouldn't we suspect that he would, after a period of time, if he was in any way the kind of person you're talking about, that he was a great judge of character or super fucking smart or whatever, that he would be able to tell that's what was happening to his underage employees? Son of a bitch.
Trafficked her and said nothing about it until a second girl got stolen from Trump.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No. Mm-mm. They talk about other girls. But we don't know that was the last straw. At this point, I'm going to go with Epstein hired one of his gardeners. It wasn't the girls. The last straw was somebody who worked in the fucking kitchen. Prove me wrong. Right.
And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That seems to be what they're going with, Walter.
That seems to be what they're going with. You stay classy, Megyn Kelly.
What do you make of it?
Well,
let me get out my turd polishing kit and show them and give this big piece of dookie what for.
Trump gets in trouble because he tells the truth, but he also gets out of trouble because he tells the truth.
No, not in this case.
The truth is often a little, jarring or unexpected when you first hear it. But
no. hey man, what happened the other day? We were expecting you at the movie. I had like this abscess on my tooth, and I wasn't telling anybody about it because it was kind of annoying. And then it got infected, and I had to go to the dentist, and they're like, dude, this has to come out. And they put me under a local, and by the time I woke up, I was like, oh shit, the movie. And then I just was like, I went home and I just conked out. Gee, that truth is a little jarring. All of your fellow movie-going friends are, we're a little shaken by that truth. It's raining outside. What? Sometimes the truth can be jarring.
But it tends to last longer. And this is a very...
Oh, that's nice. The truth tends to last longer. Does it tend to last longer?
Very credible story by a guy who was proud of his resort. And a big part of a resort, I'm sorry, because I live part of the time in Las Vegas and I, go to them, is the spa staff, masseuses, people who do nails, do hair, bring you towels and so on. And
I'm presuming the people you're talking about are adults, none of whom were tricked into going into someone's house, were sexually molested systematically for years. This fucking guy. Hey, congratulations, Megyn Kelly. You're like, God damn, this is going to be a bad topic. What kind of an asshole can I bring on to like sound worse than me on this issue?
He was obviously proud of that. People go to Florida to relax in that way. And
well, then I guess you can't blame Epstein, can you? I mean, buddies of his come down to Florida to relax in that way.
The honesty here is kind of refreshing. He didn't.
Holy shit. No, it is not. God damn.
Like his business being, degraded.
He what? He didn't like his business being degraded? His former employee was raped. He still let the motherfucker come and visit and go to the diner. He wasn't even a member. Jeffrey Epstein used to come there. So did Ghislaine Maxwell. Neither of them were members. They just got the bro discount. He didn't like his business degraded. How about the underage girls in his employ? Motherfucker. Why? How? What the? Can anybody explain this? God damn.
Etc., a better job.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. This guy.
By this interloper. That's where Trump's values are, I'm afraid. Yep. He wants to have a great resort. And he felt that Jeffrey Epstein was making it a less great resort. Now, turning...
Fuck you. Oh, God. He was making it a less great resort. This is like hurts to listen to. This guy's name is Walter Kirn. Walter Kim, yeah. Listen to this shit again. All right. Hold on, let's go.
That's where Trump's values are, I'm afraid. Yep. He wants to have a great resort. And he felt that Jeffrey Epstein was making it a less great resort. Now, turning that and using the verb stole to sort of latch it on to the subject of trafficking is flat dishonesty. And,
he said it. And no, it's not flat dishonesty. It'd be flat dishonesty if, I don't know how it would be flat dishonesty. Like, it's an honest read. It's an honest read from this motherfucker. Hold on, I'm popping out my chat for so I can see it over here, guys. Sorry, beg your pardon. Where'd it go? There it is. There we go. I need to go up here. There you go. Holy shit. Jeff cockblocked and Donald was mad. Enough said. Yeah, Michael, I think you're absolutely right. Thanks, Jackie.
The worst kind of torturing the language. But I believe him. This does not sound like a cover-up artist, this guy. This sounds like a guy who's kind of committed to telling the truth, even when it's sort of...
Jesus Christ. Sort of, I don't know, fucking gross. It could be that he, like Jeffrey Epstein and Elon Musk's crowd and Peter Thiel and all these fuckers, think there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. That these girls are trash. And they had it coming. That's why. Jesus Christ. Like, this is rough. Hold on one second. I'm trying to, like... Why is that not working? Okay, hold on. It's always something screwy while I'm trying to do my show. There we go. Copy. And then I had to rearrange my monitors again, and so my mouse won't go. It's hard to track where my mouse is on the screen. Got it. I mean, it's a personal issue. Happened to anybody. Okay, good. Manage details. There you go. Okay, excellent. And now I can bring up the overall chat. There you guys are. Excellent. Whew. Ugh, this fucking dude. All right, here we go. Back to where I was.
Odd and gives insights into his values that maybe other people wouldn't share. He wants the damn best spa and the damn best resort, and Jeffrey Epstein.
And who gives a shit if the guy stole his people to rape and possibly murder them? You know, it's really like, who's going to fold the fucking towels? What do you mean we're shorthanded today? Well, one of our girls was killed. I didn't ask you what happened. I asked you why we have 5 locker room attendants and we're supposed to have 6.
Was screwing with that, and that was the problem.
God damn. I don't know why this asshole thinks this is a save. Anybody? Jesus.
Well, it has the ring of... It has...
Meg, save this asshole from himself.
The ring of truth.
Let me give you, so there's tons of headlines on this now. They're trying to make this a huge deal. We knew.
Oh, hey, asshole, it is a huge deal. It's a huge fucking deal. An underage girl who worked at Mar-a-Lago as a locker room attendant was approached by a woman who worked for a pedophile recruiting girls. This woman recruited that girl to give after-hours massages to this guy for money to be his traveling masseuse. And then when she showed up for the job, it wasn't like working at a spa. She got molested herself and then abused and threatened for years. And Donald Trump's response was, the guy was stealing my employees. What about the rest of the victims? There's 1,000 fucking victims. And it took you years. He was friends with Epstein for at least 4 more years, minimum, after she was taken. God damn.
We knew that Virginia Giuffre worked at Mar-a-Lago. This is not this is not new news. This was old news. And she's on the record as having said she had a great time there. In fact, we'll just play it. We pulled it. This is Virginia Giuffre on CBS Morning in 2020. Listen to Sat 11.
Virginia, how did you meet her and what was her pitch to you?
I'm working at Mar-a-Lago, loving it. I'm working in the spa area. I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Guylaine came up to me and said, oh my God, you're reading a book about massage.
She made $1,800 working at Mar-a-Lago. That's maximum 3 weeks. Unless, that's me being generous. Like, how many weeks do you have to work someplace to make $1,800? I mean, at a place like that, it should be a single week. In 2000. So she worked there for like 3 weeks, and Ghislaine was like, hey, you look like Ivanka.
And, you know, long story short, she told me that she knew of a man who was looking for a traveling masseuse. And if he liked me, then I would get educated and I would become a real massage therapist. So, yeah, I mean, it was a dream of a lifetime until I got there, and the abuse was immediate. She could smell the vulnerability on the person.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, she must be a vulnerable, easy to manipulate underage girl. She works for Donald Trump. Maybe she was, you know what? Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell is a master manipulator of human beings. Or maybe she and Donald and Epstein were at a party, and Donald said, you should see the one I got working in the spa right now. She's like, she's right up your alley, Jeff, but, you know. God damn.
Okay. So that's Virginia Giuffre saying at Mar-a-Lago, she loved working in the spa. Everything was on the up and up. And then
for all 3 weeks, tops, I'm going to go 2.
She got lured away to go work for Epstein by Ghislaine Maxwell, and things went downhill from there. You've got headlines like this from The Independent. Trump says Epstein stole underage victim Virginia Giuffre from his Mar-a-Lago.
He did. That's exactly what he said. He said that he stole her.
Leading to feud. Forbes. Trump says Epstein stole Virginia Giuffre from his employment. The Bulwark.
That's a direct quote. That's exactly what he fucking said.
Sam Stein. He stole her. A jaw-dropping thing to say. I just can't get over it. Was she Trump's property? And you can keep going. But listen to this. This guy from emptywheel.net does a long, deep dive on it. And
oh, how dare they at Empty Wheel. Empty Wheel's great.
It says the following, okay? He says, if Donald Trump learned what happened to Giuffre and warned Epstein never to recruit sex slaves at Mar-a-Lago again, it would mean he was aware of what happened to Giuffre, aware years before law enforcement first started investigating Epstein. It would mean he learned Epstein was trafficking girls, which that New York Magazine quote sure seems to reflect, where he said he likes young girls, Epstein likes young girls. And rather than do something to make Epstein stop, Trump just told him not to do it at Mar-a-Lago. That's what this guy gleaned.
Yes. Yes, that is the only logical conclusion. Other than Donald Trump is the most dough-headed motherfucker in the world and couldn't figure out what was happening right in front of him all the time. In which case, I don't know why you would want him in charge of anything that matters. You know how there was a period where we learned that George W. Bush had just wanted to be baseball commissioner. And a lot of people used to joke like, fuck, I wish he'd have become baseball commissioner. And, you know, it would have saved us all this fucking grief. He wouldn't have run for president. Right? Remember that? I almost feel like if Trump had been made like the fucking golf commissioner, if there is such a thing, like the head of, you know, the TGA or something like that, we could have avoided all this shit. Like he would have just liked just having that shitty level of power. What's up, Boston Brian? What's going on, man? Love you, brother. I gotta tell you, this shit's making me livid. Whew. Let me know if you want to hop on. I'm getting late. I'm almost getting near the end of it, but shit. Sorry, did somebody say Trump said don't go near the underage girls? That is not true. It is very fucked up. Trump didn't say that. Trump did not say, don't go near the underage girls. He didn't. Yeah, Trump, oh, say Freddie Fred saying, Trump said, don't steal my underage girls. I see what you mean. Look, I mean, again, this is fucking turd polishing central. Megyn Kelly, fuck you. You cruel, insipid asshole.
From, she worked in the spa, he stole my employee, and I said, you better not do that again. And then he did, so I ended the friendship. What in the actual?
The actual is, you have to have Trump derangement syndrome to not see how fucked up this is and how evil you're being. So thankfully, Hal Sparks and Sparkler friends, all the degenerates on Jeffrey Epstein list must be made public. Don't care who is on it. I completely agree, Marcia. Look, I'm a big believer in consenting adults. Do what you want. Like, if somebody wants to be in a dominant, submissive thing, and they want to live, somebody walks them on a fucking leash, or if a couple decides they like it a little rough and they have to come up with safe words on this, not my thing. But you do you, boo. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. But the easy line, the one I think we can all fucking agree on, is leave the kids alone. That children cannot consent. And there is a reason we set 18 and 21 as non-arbitrary numbers. Period. And if some of these assholes, it's almost like they get a pleasure in breaking that number, insisting on it. I've always said there's a huge difference between somebody who sees a 16-year-old girl who looks 25 and goes, wow, she's beautiful. And then you go, dude, she's 16. You go, oh, shit, sorry, I thought she was 25. She looks much older. And somebody who sees a 25-year-old and goes, wow, she looks 16. Like, you see the difference in those human beings? One of them is simply dealing in the aesthetics of it and understanding that there's a moral line not to be crossed. And the other one is, well, shit, if I got the chance, I would take advantage of whatever moral out I would possibly have. And there's a huge difference between those two kinds of people. And what Megyn Kelly right here is defending is the dude who sees a 25-year-old girl and says, who looks 16 and goes, man, she looks 16, all right. At minimum, which is fucking gross. And now, with this dipshit on her show, she is actively defending Donald Trump, whose response to a girl being effectively abducted from his property using a ruse, not unlike what a serial killer would use to talk somebody into a fucking van. He stole my employee. Like, do you know how fucked up you have to be to just word it that way? Shit.
Yeah, this is dishonest. It's not going to play. It is.
It is going to play. It's not dishonest. It's right on the fucking nose. And anybody who isn't turd polishing for Donald Trump right now can see it a mile away.
Shocking to me as a journalist to see.
Oh, dear God. When you're done pearl clutching.
Headlines and, first paragraphs of stories tortured from this very, I got to say, innocent statement by him.
No, you don't, but you're choosing to.
The last thing you read started with the biggest small word in the English language, if. If. Well, we can spin out ifs forever, but
imagine finding yourself in a situation where you're twisting yourselves in knots to protect these assholes.
The truth is, everybody knows what poaching an employee means. Everybody knows that Donald Trump at this.
Yes, they do. You're absolutely right. Everybody does know what somebody whose employee was stolen. Somebody has a great bookkeeper and somebody took their bookkeeper and used that person as a bookkeeper. That's what everybody goes, they stole him away from me. They poached my employee. But if somebody lures an underage girl who worked for you to a private house where they were sexually assaulted, that's not poaching employees, you motherfucker. That's not stealing an employee. That's not what that is. Holy fuck. That's not what that is. Jesus. And the fact that you that's what he takes away from it, it's as bad as he stole her sounds and worse. Because what he's taking away is, I had a perfectly good underage girl working in my employ, and he took her away. I was looking at that.
Point did not have the ability to call down a helicopter and have Jeffrey Epstein swept away to a tropical prison. What was he supposed to do?
Call the FBI? Report the dude? Talk to the girl's parents who used to work for you? Is she okay? I've seen this guy around young girls and he's a little sketchy. Make sure that she, you take proper precautions. She calls in. I mean, how about that as a fucking baseline?
Was he supposed to put out an APB on this guy?
Yes. Yeah. Fucking call the cops.
And say, he's taking masseuses and...
Well, and where's the evidence?
She wasn't a masseuse. She was an underage girl.
Evidence he knew that they were being trafficked. You're really missing a critical piece of proof there.
That was the if. That was the if. I mean, as a lawyer, this must...
How about this? He lures an underage girl in your employ away to work at his private mansion, on his private plane, and on his private island. And you know he likes them young. How about that? Why is that not enough of a moral line? Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely think he knew what was going on, and I absolutely don't think he gave a fuck about that part. He was just mad because he was understaffed. And he lost the locker room attendant who, look, if you squint, looks like Ivanka. Who's basically the same age as Ivanka in her permanent state. How he'll always picture her. But even if he wasn't involved, okay, I got a bunch of dude friends, and they're by and large rock solid people. I know a couple of guys that probably drink a little too much, being in the rock world, but that's pretty much it. But if I knew that one of them hired a 16-year-old girl to clean his house, she was like working for a service. They would send you over with like 5 people and they would clean your house. And he hired that 16-year-old girl away to clean his house by herself. I talked to him and in front of her. Immediately. Fucking immediately. And by the way, like, how would you be friends with someone addicted to hard drugs? I don't know if they manage a friendship with me. I wouldn't. Well, I've had friends. I've had friends pass away from overdoses, so I guess yes. But, I would love them enough to hope that they would stop. But, like, even baseline. And, like, I don't even think any of my friends would act on that kind of shit. But it looks fucked up. right? I would just go, dude, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? Go hire an adult. Like, go pay a stripper to clean your place in the nude if you want. I don't care. She's a grown-up. She can do whatever she wants. But this girl's 16. No. No, 100 times no. Even if nothing's gonna happen from your end, if she decided to accuse you of something, you're fucked. So this is bad. Everybody go to a neutral corner.
Be so frustrating to you, because I'm sure you've seen various ways in which insinuations and, you know, dubious claims are grown from simple statements. But this is dishonest, and to see the press doing this over and over, really
over and over, all Trump has to do is stop saying shit like he stole her. They didn't make it up, you dumb motherfucker. They didn't concoct this shit. This is just fucking aggravating. Jesus Christ. These might be two of the most hideous people we have covered in a long time. Because they're like, what I wouldn't give for Vinny from Peanut Butter Dickhead's podcast to be sitting there going, what are you talking about? Right? Like, I'd like to see the veins on his fucking forehead pop up. Jesus. And there's another fucking 3 minutes of this. Oh, no, she doesn't add, right, at the end of this?
reminds me of the Russiagate thing, in which...
Oh, you mean it's true? Oh, you mean the Russiagate thing where there would have been charges if Bill Barr, the guy whose father gave Jeffrey Epstein his first job at an all-girls school, where he clearly molested some of the students there, it would have actually been, they'd been allowed to look at Trump's financials, which would have given the motive part to means, motive, and opportunity, which would have created the three, stool legs of a case. But because they removed that, they weren't able to bring charges or suggest charges to the DOJ because they didn't have motive, because they weren't allowed to look at the finances. Because two other people, namely Donald Trump and Bill Barr, who knew Jeffrey Epstein, were involved in that too.
Yep. Small pieces of not even evidence, but of language and other artifacts can be amassed to tell a story that is.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's true. So maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump is too fucking stupid to be president of the United States. If he's so fucking dumb that he can't figure out that saying a sex trafficked victim who was poached from his property, lured away by a sex trafficker from his property, was simply a stolen employee, he hired people away from me. Doesn't sound like he was participating in a sex trafficking ring while he's talking about pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell and acting like he didn't know Jeffrey Epstein and lying about the numerous interactions that they had, the numerous writings they sent back and forth to each other. He signed a copy of his book to Jeffrey Epstein, "You're the Greatest." I'm starting to understand why Glenn Beck isn't covering this issue again anymore.
Completely untrue. We don't know all the things there are to know about Jeffrey Epstein, and we're
right. You're right. You don't. So maybe stop defending Trump until you do. Because if you're wrong about this, it's really fucking bad. This might be one of those areas where you might want to tread lightly and not call the press out for being overly sensitive, for perhaps on he stole her, considering the context of not only, let's just put aside all the language, they're misreading or stacking the language. How about the fact that up until that very moment, You dopey motherfuckers think that Trump kicked him off the property for, quote, being a creep. And he didn't. It turns out he was just taking some of his pretty girls off the property and they wouldn't come back. I don't know, maybe some of them were sex trafficked or something. I mean, whatever. Who cares, really? They were working here, and good help is hard to find. The biggest part of this isn't whether the media is overusing or underusing the phrase that Trump uttered himself. He stole her. The big issue is that you motherfuckers were hiding behind the he kicked him out because he was a creep story, and that has completely fallen apart. Your only real fallback now is that it was over a real estate deal. Jesus.
Hoping that we hear more. But at this point, this kind of conclusion is almost libelous.
Yes, yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's almost libelous. He should sue about them quoting his own words. What are you going to serve? Libelous interpretation? Look, when I said I'm guilty of murder, what I meant is that we're all kind of guilty of murder because we pay taxes and war. There's always innocent people killed in it. And so I wasn't just because I had a knife in my hand and blood dripping off it and there's a corpse on the floor. I wasn't talking about that. I found the knife. It was sticking in the person, and when I was trying to get it out, I kept falling forward, and the knife, I don't know if it was like magnetic or like, I think she's got a spinal plate and it was magnetized, and the knife just kept going in or whatever. I'm standing there and the cops come in and I got the bloody knife in my hand and I was like, I'm a murderer. And what I meant by I'm a murderer, they're writing in the newspaper that I was the murderer because I have a knife in my hand, there's a dead person there, you know? I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely right. There's absolutely no evidence that Trump knew. This guy tries to spin it.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. And some of them are on the younger side. How about when him and David Copperfield, who were also friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein comes to the party for the Look of the Year competition, and these are all underage girls. They were all under 18.
Based on that one Trump comment from years ago where he's like, oh, he loves women, and some say he even likes them young. That is not the same as he's a pedo.
You're right. It's not the same. If you say it about anybody but Jeffrey Epstein. And if you'd only known him for a little while, if you rolled up at the party and you're like, oh yeah, guy seems like a lot of fun or whatever, and his entourage seems to be on the younger side, right? And like, those are his nieces. Well, then what the fuck's he bringing them to this kind of party for? Just keep trying, Meg. Keep trying.
Sex trafficker of underage girls, okay? It's your people over on Team Blue who knew that he had pleaded guilty to an act of prostitution with a minor, which, by the way, is not a thing. That's statutory rape. Minors cannot prostitute themselves.
Right.
There you go. Look at that. Meg, you and I agree on something, finally.
Anyway, and still showed up at his mansion to try to glad hand with him. All the left-wing.
Oh, you mean Alan Dershowitz, Trump's attorney? You mean Steve Bannon, who continued to be close to him and filmed 15 hours of him, both in the States and in Paris, to help him rehab his image, to create a documentary to basically fix his image? Mm-hmm.
Press that went to kiss the ring. It wasn't Donald Trump. He was out of Epstein's life long before all that. Anyway.
Largely because both of them were just getting too old to pull it off.
It's just ridiculous.
Yes, you are just ridiculous. Holy shit. That clip took longer than I thought. Motherfucker. I'm going to see if did my other page start working again or no? I have to quit that page and see if it reopens. Is that what you do? Let's see. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm having to do force quit Safari. See what's wrong with it. Let's see. Hopefully, it'll open up and reopen all my tabs. Probably not. There we go. But that was, by the way, the title of that video was Media Spins Trump's Answer into Nonsense. And the bit fuller one is into complete nonsense. So, you know, check yourself. That's a rough one, I gotta say. Like, I'm so used to, like, how full of shit all these people are that it becomes difficult to, like, think I'm gonna be freaked out by any of it.